Yeah, it was an epic day, wasn't it? It was sort of, I honestly didn't think it'd be a very slim chance I'd be sitting here at this point today with the quality of the guys leading the tournament and doing well. But I got away to a fast start. I hold a 50-footer or about 60-footer on the second hole for birdie, and I did the same again on the next hole, and then I hold a 10-footer. I hit a wedge into 10 feet on the fourth and made birdie there, and all of a sudden I was 3 under through 4. And things just progressed from there, and I got a lot of momentum going. I birdied the holes you probably should birdie, the par fives. And it turns out we're in a playoff that seemed to, I thought it was over, for me anyway, when Wade Ormsby hit it in about 5 feet. But as it turns out, that just tenacity and a little bit of luck, and here I am.
7 holes in a playoff, it's quite a grind. How do you stay focused in the moment and make sure you just keep pushing through?
Well, I just wasn't sure Scotty was ever going to hit a loose shot, so I was trying to drive it in the fairway, and I kept driving in every bunker. My caddy was getting worn out raking bunkers, but look, I didn't have the greatest control. Fatigue was starting to show up, and when I get tired, I tend to get a little more hands into my golf swing, and it's a lot harder to control where the ball goes. I would have loved to play the playoff about 2 hours earlier. When I was playing really nicely, but just to keep hanging in there, I just thought I really wanted to force somebody to make birdie if I could, and I made the nice little 15-footer to save par at one point to stay in the playoff, as it turned out. But I thought if I'm going to lose this, I want to lose to a birdie, and it's a shame sometimes that doesn't work out, that way, that someone makes birdie and makes something spectacular. But I'm very pleased to be the champion again.
And that moment when the putt did sink for you, what was going through your emotion-wise?
Oh, just relief more than anything. Yeah, look, I was really surprised. Scotty, it was a tough putt to judge. As when I read it, when I hit it there the sixth time around, I was like, I saw that they were missing it left, and I thought, it doesn't look like it breaks that much, but it was just tough, getting harder to judge speed, and it's just a long day, and all of a sudden you hit a loose putt and you've got 5 feet before you know it. So just relief that it seemed to be over, but it wasn't over until I made my little diddler, so I was happy to see that drop.
Bruce.
Greg, when you arrived at the course this morning, given the breezy conditions, windy conditions I guess would be a better way to describe it, did you figure 64 was on? I don't know. I thought there's a low score out there somewhere. It just, you needed to do everything right, and I needed. Look, in all honesty, if I 2-putt on the second and third hole, we're not sitting here. If you have freaky things like 60-footers going in, then you start to get an inkling that momentum's going to go your way. And so I took more chances, and they paid off. And I felt very good with my flat stick this week, and the weekend particularly, and it's been like that for at least the last 2 or 3 months. And I thought, in all honesty, on that 18th green in the playoff, I thought I was going to make every putt I had. Even the 50-footer I had, I'm like, I think I can make this. But that's how I feel when I'm putting well. I think I can do that. But it'd be crazy to think I'd sit here and thought, 64, here we go. I thought the key for me today was to keep pushing. I could have quite easily got to 4 or 5 under and been happy with that, and not trying to make more birdies.
Greg, we spoke after your round about the mentality between playing in the US Tour, playing in Australia. How much do you draw out of coming out of a 7-hole playoff against Adam Scott, the world number 3, and coming out on top and winning the tournament?
Well, I need to drive it better. I wish I drove it like him. Look, what happens is, to my attitude, if you're talking about my mental approach, one of my weaknesses, if you want to get into it, is that when I play in the States, I don't play to win. I'm 41 and I've been doing it a long time, but I still experience, I just like to do well, rather than, you know what, when I come here, I come here to try and win the golf tournament, and I get really focused on that. And because of that, I've finished 4th at the Australian Open, and I finished, a victory here. So that's an attitude that needs to change. And every golfer, every single one of us has some kind of challenge, and that's my biggest challenge, is trying to take this kind of attitude over there. I noticed when I made the turn that they weren't running away with it. And I'd got to 7 under at the turn and birdied 10 to get to 8 under. And I thought, well, if I can get through 11, I got a birdie 12, I got to pick up the other par 5, 14 is it, or 15? But I just noticed that they weren't doing what I thought they would be doing, which is getting closer to 12 or 13 under, which would have been very impossible for me almost today. 10 under would have been very difficult. So that gave me a little kick, I guess, if you can say that. I'm not privy to how many putts
Scotty rolled over the edge, so I'm confident he hit the ball really well, and it just didn't go in for him today. But in the playoff. Look, I thought eventually he's going to hit a wedge shot really close. I really thought he'd hit a wedge shot, stump it, and just kick it in. And so, I thought eventually if he keeps driving down the middle and he's got wedge in his hand, he's going to make birdie. And I thought a birdie would be required, but as it turned out, it didn't work out that way. That happens sometimes.
Rod.
Greg, it's a pretty exclusive club, 2 Australian Opens and 2 PGAs. What does that mean? Just reflect on that for a moment.
Yeah, look, I haven't had much chance to think about it, and I'll have to. My golf history is pretty poor. I love the game, but I wouldn't say I'm a student of it. I would say that I'll have to look at the trophy and see the names, and the last time when I won the PGA, I think I was one of three guys that won the PGA, the Open, and the Australian Amateur. I think Bob Cathy was one of the other ones. But yeah, so I think that's the kind of thing that's really cool, just in private moments, just to sit back and go, hey, that's pretty nice, And so I'm really pleased.
Rod.
Greg, does winning the title today, does that change any plans for you over coming months, over the summer?
Oh, look, I lost my status in the States this year. I don't have full status next year. So I think this winning the money list in Australia, the Order Merit in Australia, I think that helps me get some. I might get a World Golf Championship unless I'm incorrect.
Cadillac, yeah.
Yeah, Cadillac and
Nedbank and the Open, which are already in.
Yes. So I think that'll help me an awful lot. I need all the help I can get next year. So just the fact that I'm going to get 3 extra events when I'm in a year when I'm probably only going to get 15 anyway off my category is very exciting. And I'm forever thankful to our tour here for those kind of exemptions. It's very important for players and gives a lot of chances. I've got some other buddies who are going to go to Q school and things like that who are getting that off the back of our tour. So, and that's how I got my start. That's how I got into Europe. That's how I got into America. And I don't forget that. I think it's really cool.
Ticker.
Congratulations, Greg.
Thanks, mate.
Adam gets a lot of kudos for coming back and supporting the tour, mate. What does it mean for you to come back, not just to win, but to continually come back and support the tour? And
sorry, go, finish.
That's what I was just going to say. And, where is the tour at the moment, in your opinion? I mean, can we continue to get players coming down here?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think our biggest selling point has always been our golf courses. It's always difficult, and we've been blessed to have some of the, not just Australia's best, but some of the game's best players in the last 20 years come back and play. We start with Norman, and at its peak you had guys like Baker Finch and Parry and Roger Davis, and now you've got guys like Adam Scott and Jeff Ogilvy and Jason Day. Hopefully he'll come back when he's healthy next year. So that's a great state for the game in Australia. I think times are always difficult. It seems there's a lot of sports trying to get sponsors' dollars, and so everyone's fighting hard for that. But the product that we put out, I think, as golfers is pretty good, and it's pretty exciting to watch when you got guys like Adam Scott who looks like a model and he's nearly winning everything. So it's kind of easy on the eye for everybody. So. I like to come back because I love Australia and I love coming back. And I'm, like I said a moment ago, I'm conscious of the idea that every career has a pathway, and my pathway started right here. So I think it's a somewhat, not an obligation, but just something I think is the right thing to do.
Greg, awesome playoff effort there. I really admired your resilience. You were in the bunkers 5 times, in the trees once, and the fairway once. So those 6 times when you went on the fairway, what was going through your head in terms of with your second shot each time?
Look, the bunker shots were really not that difficult, honestly, because the sand is really tight and it's not much of it, so it's really easy to hit a decent shot. I was more concerned about how my hands were feeling. I felt like I didn't have. It's a weird feeling. You just don't have. They're going faster than you want them to, and it's just fatigue. It's just worn out. And so I just wanted to have it finish, and I really wanted to stump one in close and just tap it in and be happy and hold the trophy. But my style of golf is never going to be an Adam Scott style of golf. I hit it offline. I don't panic. I'm gonna hit it offline. I did it all week, and I did it sometimes today. But I have a short game that I hold in pretty decent regard, and I thought just keep making someone win it. And today it turns out that a mistake was made and I'm holding the trophy.
Greg.
Greg, what was your record in playoffs before today? Because your record in three-way PGA playoffs is now pretty good.
Yeah, that's a great question. My memory serves, I've been in, I beat Stephen Leaney, a good friend of mine, in a playoff once. That was fun. I've been in, I think I've been in 5. I think I'm 5 for 5. I think I've been in 5 or 6 and won them all. Yeah, I haven't won that many times, but yes, I think I've. I don't think I've. Oh no, sorry. Richard Green hit it really close in the Australian Masters. Hit it to a foot, and he beat. That's right. So maybe I'm 1 out of 6. One loss in 6 tries.
Bruce.
You paid homage to your former coaches out there, and obviously got a bit emotional about it, and good on you for that. What have they meant to you in terms of building you along the way? I know you've moved on from them, but obviously they meant a lot to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was remiss of me not to do it the first time when I won. I really regretted that when I got a chance. And, you know, I've been coached by, you know, the PGA is a fantastic organisation, and everyone has a pathway to success. And my pathway started with a man called Colin Barnes at Tuggerah Lakes Golf Club, which is now Shelley Beach Golf Club on the central coast of New South Wales. Then from him to a driving range, Tom Linsky taught me a little bit, and he's now up in Queensland here at Logan City. I think maybe he's moved, I'm not sure, but I haven't seen him for a long time. And then I went to Perth and I was coached by Dale Wharton, the pro at the time, was a lady pro at Royal Fremantle Golf Club. Got the state team, went to Ross Metherall, moved to Dale Lynch, who you guys would all know, and then I'm with Colin Swatton. So at each point, I've learned something new and I've taken good and I've moved on and here we are. So I just wanted to, I guess, have a healthy level of respect for that these people have taught me things along the way that got me to this point. And I regret not doing that when I won in 11, but I want to do it this time if I got the chance.
Just some thoughts on the golf course. Obviously, you love it now because you shot 64 today and you won a significant title. There was a suggestion occasionally this week that it was a bomber's golf course, I guess because of the soft conditions more than anything else, but you're not a bomber.
No.
And you found a way to work your way around the golf course. What do you think about the changes, and are you excited about what may lie ahead?
Well, yes, I am. The hard part for me is I'd never played here before. So what I would love to see is, if we didn't get all the rain, I heard last year Adam Scott was telling, I played with Scott Stallings, and Adam told him that on, I think it's the 7th hole, they're nearly driving it all the way down in the water, like which is 340 yards or something ridiculous. And today, you know, I drove at 260. So it's just, I'd love to see 20 yards a run, and I would love to have seen Saturday and Sunday's conditions, speed of greens and firmness of greens on Thursday and Friday. I think it would have been a much different week in terms of scoring. It was very, I know I showed a low score today, but it was very tricky. And it was one of those courses that really snuck up on you. I found that when I played my practice round, I thought, oh, that's quite innocuous. I'll just be able to chip from here. And then you see where they put the pin and you see where the ball goes when you hit it offline. Like I hit it left on the second and I thought, oh, that'll be okay. I get down there, it's in the water. That was on yesterday. I made double there. But things like that when you play a practice round and then you play a tournament, sometimes you can be quite shocked by how difficult a place can be given tournament setup. And it's a real, sometimes you get it wrong. But I was really excited about the golf course over the weekend. It was really challenging because some of the drop-offs and the sides and where they put the pins and the greens were firmer and about 1.5 foot faster. I enjoyed the setup a lot.
Can you go, congratulations, can you go back to round 2 of the playoff? You had a chip. I think Adam had like 7 feet. Ormsby had 5. He left the chip outside of them.
Yeah.
Made the putt.
Yeah.
I think Adam rimmed his. Ormsby missed, but what were you thinking at that time? Did you think you were done?
I started to shake my. Sorry, do you have any?
And did it re-energize you?
Yeah, I started to shake my caddy's hand, and he said, and he wouldn't, and he said, no, we'll just wait and see. I thought we were done. I thought there's no way both are going to miss. I certainly thought Wade's putt was uphill. I thought it was a putt that most of us would make, but I also understand that you're nervous, and sometimes it's really hard to control what the putter does and how the ball rolls. So I was very fortunate, I think, that I made that putt and I read it right, and I think it broke about a cup to the right, which is a good putt for me for a lefty. I just kind of pushed it up against the break and it broke in the hole, and before you know it, we're still going. So I would have liked to hit a better second shot. I fatted it out of the bunker, I think. That's what happened. So I hit a little fat and went left in the rough.
Greg, thank you so much for your time today. Once again, congratulations.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.